You're listening to Three's a Crowd, the North East Footy podcast, with Rye for Borough, Steve for Newcastle United, and Ted for Sunderland.
Good morning, everybody. Said good morning, everyone. Welcome to Three's a Crowd, the North East Football podcast, where we talk Middlesbrough, Sunderland, and Newcastle every weekend right here on YouTube. You can check us out at Inrictus, at Ted the Mackam, at NUFC Matters. It's a big old good morning to you, Teddy boy.
Good morning, sunshine. How are you doing? I must apologise. The hair needs doing. I need a haircut.
Mate, you're every time I see you, there's more greys in that beard. We need to talk about that.
It's because I work with you, mate.
It's been a couple of years now. And we say a big good morning to the logo himself, the man who is that beautiful that he's broken his camera. It is Steve Wraith. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Some people say this is the best I've looked for a while.
The gloss of your beautiful forehead, mate, is amazing today. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all fantastic. We have got a big weekend of football. Amazing result in the championship last night for Middlesbrough, but there was a big performance midweek that we need to cover as well. If I do drop out or I do seem laggy, I do apologise, viewers and listeners. We have got a bad storm here, and we've also got Ted's grey hair that's just putting me off, and I just I don't know what to do with it. It's just wild there, Teddy boy. Let's cover first things first. Newcastle getting a big win midweek in the Carabao Cup, just as we predicted, lads. The curse is broken.
It is.
The curse is broken. We all predicted it. I actually got a 2-0 victory out of that one as well. It's incredible to see Newcastle United continuing their Carabao Cup run at the expense of Tottenham Hotspur. Teddy boy saying the right things last week, saying that they don't travel well, and they don't. Newcastle at home were managed to push aside a lackluster Tottenham, I thought, in personal terms. And it was an incredible night because not only did we get the story of Newcastle carrying on, we got the story of Liverpool and Arnie Slot continuing their downfall. Clap to you, Alexander Isak fans out there, because he suggested that his squad isn't large enough. I need to talk about that because I thought that was absolutely hilarious. Teddy boy, I'm going to come to you first, mate. We predicted this on the pod last week, Newcastle getting a great win. But honestly, it was a lackluster performance from Tottenham. We saw absolutely fury at the first goal from the Tottenham boss. And I can see why, but I just think it wasn't. And what's even crazier, their big German just continues scoring.
Yeah, Peter Crouch is definitely one to watch. Like he's performing brilliantly. Let's be honest. I think he's been an excellent bit of recruitment for Newcastle United. But yeah, I mean, look, we talked about Spurs. We talked about their seeming inability to be able to perform anywhere in the northeast. To be honest, like, they never really fared all that well at Sunderland in the last few visits they had as well. So let's hope that continues as well. You know, into the new year. Let's praying for some similar kind of results. I just thought it was very comfortable for Newcastle. They didn't look in any bother at all. Yeah, all right, a little bit of controversy about the first goal. I don't think it would have mattered if it was chalked off. I think it would have been about the same sort of scoreline anyway. So yeah, it just looks comfortable. They move on to the next round. A very winnable game against Fulham. You got to say that the draw so far has been all right to them. And the thing is, it also keeps them playing, keeps getting them tired out for a game that's coming up in December as well, which I'm not going to be honest, but yeah, it's great. Hey, long may their European exploits continue. Let's hope they retain the Carabao Cup as well. And they're absolutely knackered come December the 14th.
Oh, it's coming to something when you want us to be tired. Starting to get a bit of nerves.
Hey, we've got now to be nervous of, mate.
Steve, it's an amazing performance, mate. One again that we called a good midweek performance from Newcastle, not looking or showing any legs of tiredness, competing in 3 cups at the moment. And one thing that I think is incredible, mate, is you've got the Johan Wissa thing, which I want to bring up with you and talk to you about. But I feel like the Johan Wissa thing would be a lot bigger if it wasn't the success of your new German striker. I mean, he has hit the ground running. He is absolutely incredible. I mean, if it's someone that's so lanky and looks so awkward, mate, he continues to score. And I think for me, looking from the outside in, mate, it must have eased a lot of fears after the departure of Isak, because not only was there the rats and all that sort of stuff, but you were losing a striker that was deadly, you know, in the Premier League and in the Cups as well. Do you know what I mean? But it looks like you've found a ready-made replacement.
Good players can play with other good players, and Newcastle United have got a really, really good squad this season. It was never a one-man team with Isak, but it was a team that was set up to play to Isak's strengths to get him the goals that he scored, which is why, you know, even when he eventually hits fitness at Liverpool, he's going to struggle because they don't play through one man. They play a completely different system. But Newcastle, it took a little bit of time to adapt, and they're still adapting to playing with a big man. But what a player he is. He's got something in him that I don't think I've ever seen from a guy of that stature and height since probably Peter Crouch. I think there's been a comparison made with him this week by one of the TV pundits to Teddy Sheringham. And I think that's a great shout. He is very like Teddy Sheringham, big, tall, but great with his feet and can finish as well. So, you know, we've stumbled across something here, which when you think about the circus that we had in the summer, and all of the knockbacks that we got from Ekitike and Sesko, etc., we've actually landed on our feet with a guy who's exceptionally good at football and knows where the back of the net is, and that doesn't happen very often. And it's taken the pressure off Wissa. Had Voldemort not got off to a good start, had he struggled, we would have been rushing Wissa back. I think the experts would have been saying one thing, and I think the management would have been saying another, because the pressure would have been on. But now they're talking about Wissa probably not being back until after this international break. There was talk of them originally being back for the game against West Ham, then Bilbao on Wednesday, and then, of course, potentially going into a huge game next week against Brentford. That would have been a huge game for him. But it sounds very likely that he won't be back now until after the next international break. And I just wonder whether Newcastle have been very cute with this. Obviously, they're looking after the players' welfare. Obviously, they're looking after their player because they want to get the best out of him for some part of the season. But of course, the longer this rehabilitation goes on, the less likely he is to go to AFCON as well, because it will depend on fitness. And if Newcastle aren't happy with the fitness of the player, then he can't go. If they're saying that he's not fit, he can't go, and that's it. And that's it, really. It's as simple as that. But the game against Spurs was very important. There's been lots of talk on the Newcastle, fans forums and Twitter and the like about how important was that game. And every game's important. The Champions League game is important. The Premier League is important. Every game is important to Newcastle, and they are literally going on all fronts. It's why I'm not concerned about where we find ourselves in the Premier League at the moment, because we're 2 wins away from being in that top 4, and that's great. The tortoise in the hare suits Newcastle. They will put a run together. They've already put a run together: 3 home games, 3 home wins. They now need to go away tomorrow against West Ham and get another win on the road, which they haven't done since last season. Get a win on the road. That game really tomorrow is a key, and then you're back again in the Champions League. If you can beat Bilbao, who are struggling in the Champions League, you've got 9 points. You're not far off qualifying for that next stage, which is £10 million in the bank for Newcastle. And then you've got Brentford away. Yeah, Brentford are in good form, but again, that's not a game that frightens Newcastle, and Newcastle are in good form as well. It could be a humdinger, that, but it's. At the moment, I'm very happy. I'm very happy about where we are. And look at Fabian Shaw coming in. He's coming at centre half. You would never have thought that there would be the day when he would be on the bench, but he got laid off because of injury. He came in, he played alongside Malik Chow, and it looked as if he'd been playing alongside him all season. And he got another goal. I mean, what a bargain Benitez got us there. £3 million for him. 7 years he's played at Newcastle now, and he's scored over 20 goals from the centre-half position. Exceptional buy that. Exceptional buy. Probably one of the best buys in our history, up there with Rob Lee back in the 90s. But yeah, it's, I'm feeling happy, and I think I know it was tongue in cheek from Teddy, and he's wanting Newcastle to do well because he's hoping we'll be tired for the derby. But you know what? Newcastle have got a better squad. If this had been last year or the season before, Newcastle would be struggling with these games. We've got the experience now, and as long as we don't have an injury crisis, as long as we don't suddenly end up with, no forwards, or we suddenly lose all our centre halves, we really will be in good form for any game that we play, including the derby. So it's all systems go. It's in James's Park at the minute. Everything's positive, and we've found one momentum, and we've found that we can play a different way. And I think that bodes well for the future, because if you can play with the style that Volta desires, but then also can play that style, a different style with Wissa, you can also play the two of them together. It's unique because Wilson and Isak were so similar, whereas these two aren't. It's a great opportunity for us lads, and I'm as Ted is buzzing about Sunderland and you're buzzing about where Borough are, I'm buzzing about Newcastle. And at the moment, sitting here on the 1st of November, it looks like it could be a really, really good season for all three of us.
It really does. It's shaping up to be such a fantastic season for all Northeast teams, and we couldn't be happier, that's for sure. An amazing result for Middlesbrough in the Championship last night that we'll get into very soon. I just want to touch on that Wissa thing before we move on, because I think it's nail on the head there that if Ultimata hadn't have had the success to the start of the season that we've seen, I think the questions around the Wissa and the signing and all that probably would have been raised a lot more. But I mean, Eddie Howe was nonchalant in his interview, and he was unable to say when, Wissa is going to return to first team training. Do you think? Do you see Wissa still having a big part to play? I mean, there's rumors of the ACL, Steve, and there's rumors that obviously he's not part of the first team. I mean, is Wissa going to need to make as much of a bigger impact? And can you, if there is a chance, leave him to recover even further because of Walter Marta's success?
Yeah, I mean, look, Wissa will play an important part in Newcastle's team, and I mean, they've already said he's a hell of an influence in and around the training ground now. He still isn't training with the first team, but there's been lots of video footage of him over the last couple of weeks. Some from Asula's, Instagram, which is quite viral these days, of just the banter between those players, and he's in there. But Eddie made the point yesterday in his press conference that Wissa's a leader. And I think that's great. But the fact that he settled straight in with the team, I just think when he does get that opportunity, he will get that opportunity, and he'll take it with both hands. But he's a natural goal scorer. He was up there with Salah and Isak last season in the Premier League, and I just think ultimately that he will play his part. And when that is, who knows? I think there'll be some common sense, from his international team, and I think there'll be some common sense from Newcastle. And I think, genuinely speaking, I think that we will have this situation where he maybe doesn't go to AFCON, but he will have his eyes focused. Maybe he's on the next international tournament, but that'll be a decision to be made over the next couple of months. But Newcastle just won't rush him back, and I think it's proven that the additions that they've made in the backroom staff, is definitely helping us with injuries. We're not getting some of these daft injuries, and we're not rushing people back. And I think that's so important. And just while we're talking about the Spurs game, special mention to our goalkeeper, Ramsdale, who came in, played his second game of the season, and was absolutely brilliant. We really have got a really special talent in Ramsdale there, and I know he's had a bit of stick over the years, for different views that he gave where he says he switches off, etc. But that second half he didn't have a great deal to do, and then out of nowhere, that shot where he dived full length and tucked it away. It was just great. It's great. It's great to see. There is a confidence flowing through Newcastle United. There is a great atmosphere in the dressing room, as you can see each time that they come off the pitch. And they are united at the moment, which is great to see. And Eddie, once again, as he comes into official. You know, this will be 4 years on the 8th of October that we've had him as our manager. This is just, you know, this is continuing in the upward trajectory, and it's great. And you know, I still say I asked this question of one of the lads on the panel, which goes on our show tomorrow, Ask Penman, which was the best season, and I still think, yeah, we can point to the Carabao Cup win. Yes, we can point to Champions League exploits, but the best season was still that season that he came in, because he kept us up and he made those signings. He brought Dan Burn in, he brought Kieran Trippier in, and bringing those players in really has been massively helpful to us, and they've never let us down, you know. And he also managed to, you know, bring in Fabian Shaw back into the team after Steve Bruce had dropped him because he didn't rate him, and he's brought in Joe Linton and those players as well. You know, he's revitalised their career. So 4 years on the 8th of November, and a wonderful 4 years for Eddie. Let's hope you know, from our perspective as Newcastle fans, he stays for another 4 years and beyond.
No, it's good to see. And you know what's even better is that as an English coach as well, because I feel like English coaches still are struggling in our own league. Do you know what I mean? They go missing, and then there's not enough English coaches coming through as well. But Eddie Howe, and I think, you know, eventually, and correct me if I'm wrong, Blads, because I'm obviously an Australian, but I think the English team needs to be led by an England-born manager. That's just the way I see it. I think that's how it should work. But I think Eddie Howe's got that in his future, no doubts about it. Quickly before we move on, now I'm going to shock you, Northeast fans. Just sit down, take a breath, because I want to laugh at Liverpool for at least just 1 minute, and I want to laugh at them with Teddy Mackham. Teddy Mackham, Liverpool. Arnie Slot said the following. I'm sorry, I'm going to try and get this out with a straight face. I looked at Man City's team sheet, and they changed 11 players and still had one of the strongest teams out there that I have ever seen. You saw tonight that we had to bring on 7 teenagers. Our squad depth isn't there. I mean, he spent 130 mil on one striker, Teddy boy. I mean, I feel for Arnie Slot. Do you?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's we had to make changes to our side against Chelsea, and you know that really affected us. But no, we won. No, it's absolutely insane. The slot machine is broken, mate. He's a Scooby-Doo villain. You're going to pull that off, and it's Eric Ten Hag underneath. Something seriously wrong here. The real Arnie Slot is actually in a basement somewhere in Amsterdam. That sounds kinky. No, you know what I mean. He's chained to a radiator somewhere, because that ain't him from last season. It's just insanity. The money they've spent. I mean, Wirtz is probably the Wirtz German I think we've ever seen in the Premier League. It's like, this guy's making like Jan Kirchhoff, who scored like an own goal for us, and then I think got sent off against Spurs in his debut for us a few years back.
Yeah,
he's making him look like Lothar Matthäus. It's just absolutely incredible. But I'm enjoying it. I really am enjoying it. It's nice to see, you know,
it's refreshing
the arrogance of these people being toppled, and it's great for the Premier League that it's this open this season.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying we're going to stay in the top 4 or anything crazy like that, but it's just nice that we've got that bit of variation, and anybody can beat anybody right now. Yeah.
It's incredible.
And long may Liverpool's demise continue.
Oh, mate, I you know, and it's refreshing for me, Steve, because Liverpool obviously lost 4 in a row now in the Premier League. They've dropped down to 7th. We've got Bournemouth in 2nd, behind Arsenal, Tottenham in 3rd. I mean, for me though, the arrogance of Slot's comments to speak about his squad depth when he has gone and spent 130 on Isak, 105 on Wirtz. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. But I mean, he's also went and got Eteke as well. I mean,
and doesn't play him.
The man has spent the most outrageous funds on single players and then goes about squad depth. I mean, is the writing on the wall for Slot, Steve?
I mean, you know, he's blaming everybody but himself, and it's you know, I mean, ultimately what he did was he walked into Liverpool last year and didn't change anything, and now he's going to be judged on the signings that he's made and the players that he's brought in. And you know, we all know that he tried to get Gahey, you know, in the summer and you know, missed out on him. You know, lots of talk of him potentially coming in on the January transfer window, which would be interesting. But yeah, I mean, look, it's sour grapes, and if you're going to win gracefully, then lose gracefully. That's what you should do. And you know, he's become a laughing stock. You know, when we come to the cat halfway through the show, you'll see that I couldn't help but pick out a few of these these slot things that I found on social media this week and that have been sent. I tell you what was interesting this week as well, and I think it's a good time to jump in with it. And I know you lads like it when I do something like this. So the Opta League came out yesterday. They do a prediction league in the Premier League every year, usually around about this time. They come out with, once enough games have been played, they come up with a suggestion and they get the computer to work it out where we're going to finish. So here we go, lads. Here's the Opta predicted final table. Sunderland would find themselves 14th. Newcastle would be 7th, so they would get Europe, Newcastle, but they wouldn't be Champions League. Arsenal to win the league. Man City to finish 2nd. Slot in his book of excuses would be 3rd, and Chelsea would be 4th. Villa would leapfrog Newcastle again, back into those Champions League positions in 5th place. Bournemouth, interesting, finishing above Newcastle. Newcastle just finishing above Spurs. Newcastle finishing above Man United. That will be the 3rd season in a row, which wouldn't be a surprise, I've got to be perfectly honest. Forest, West Ham and Wolves is the team relegated. I don't think anybody would bet against West Ham and Wolves at the moment going down. I mean, the league almost looks alphabetical there. But it's you're looking at Sunderland there after a great start. Obviously, going to go through a bad spell at some time, you would imagine, unless they're going to do a Leicester. But yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on that league table, lads? Listen, it's just for fun. Opta do this every year. What's your feelings on it? Feeling aggrieved, Ted?
No, come on. If they'd offered us that at the beginning of the season, Steve would have absolutely snapped everybody's hands off. Bearing in mind, everybody was like sort of, predicting we'd be absolutely rank bottom already, probably with barely any points. And here we are. The only thing that I kind of disagree with that is how many points the teams have got. I can't see Wolves getting 29 points. Not the way they're playing right now. I really, really can't see that. There's, it's still early days. I mean, already Opta are putting us, a good 7 or 8 places above where they thought we would finish. And listen, it's ours to kind of go out there and prove that wrong, and maybe even sneak into a top 10 finish if we finish the season as well as we've started it. I think December, January is going to be the tough one, as you say, Steve. If we are going to go through a sticky patch, it's going to be in that time there, because some of the fixtures are just absolutely insane. We'll play Man City twice within about 3 weeks. It's it's a bit of a tough one. But no, listen, like I'm not one of these that's just because we're what are we, 4th at the minute? Just because we're up there. Listen, I'm not going to say we're going to finish up there. 14th at the beginning of the season, snap your hands off all day long, and I think it's just testament to how well the team's done. And how well the new guys have gelled, and obviously the coaching from Regis Labrie. So I ain't got a problem with what I see on there, without a doubt.
But Teddy boy, can I ask, is that sticky period right around the corner? Because let's look at these next fixtures. I mean, you've got Sunderland. Oh, sorry, you've got Everton at home.
Yes, we have got Sunderland. Yes. That's every game.
Right? So
every game.
Sunderland will be there every game, okay, regardless of the result. But you've got Everton at home, Arsenal at home, then Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, Liverpool away, Man City away, and then the derby. And that is taking you up until the 15th of December. Now, to me, that's a pretty sticky fixtures. I mean, I know that you were expecting probably a result now, given your form and the way you're going against Everton, maybe even Fulham. But I mean, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Man City, and Sunderland within the next month and a little bit. I mean, that's
Sunderland again.
Did I say Sunderland again? I meant Newcastle. I mean, you've got the derby in there. I mean, that is the trickiest thing I've seen since we beat you 4-0 at the Stadium of Light.
With 12 men. Yeah, listen, it is gonna. That was the first time we got introduced to each other, was after that game, and you gave me dog's abuse from day one, and I still love you for it.
And you deserve it.
Yeah, listen, let's make no bones about it. We've got to pick up points against the likes of Everton and Fulham. That's a given. Everton there's no easy games. Sunderland will not struggle when AFCON starts. Everybody's getting absolutely obsessed with that. They won't. They absolutely won't. They'll be fine.
AFCON.
The game against Everton's not a given by any means.
No,
right?
I don't think so.
It's a tough one. For personal reasons, I absolutely despise David Moyes, as does most people at Sunderland Football Club. So you pray and hope for a bit of a comeuppance for him.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's still a tough one. If we take draws from those games, then we've had a successful one. So yeah, between now and December, if we pick up another 9 points out of that, I'd say that's an absolute massive result.
I tell you what, you could be as well. You could be the gaffer killer in the next month or so, because I honestly believe. I think if you get a result against Fulham, I think Marco is in big trouble. Because I mean, and it's not because obviously the run of results, but teams are expected to beat
Portuguese, isn't he? He'll end up at Wolves.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Then you've got Liverpool a couple of weeks later at home. Who knows what slot's going to be looking like when that comes around? And then you've got Bournemouth are flying, Man City are flying, but then you've got straight after the derby, you've got Brighton. Just before Christmas as well. And I think that gaffer isn't performing as much as Brighton want him to as well. So, I mean, you could really do some damage to some backroom staff in the next month or so, which is interesting to see as well. It's honestly, it's juicy. And I just want Middlesbrough to be up there because I tell you what, we would crack some crowns as well if we get up there, old smoggies. Let's move on to the Middlesbrough result last night. I'm going to call it a Middlesbrough result because it went our way. Disney got over Coventry, giving them their first loss of the season, which is fantastic for Borough News because that means that Coventry do not extend their gap at the top from us in second. They will stay within grasping. Now, we need to beat Watford today by 17 goals to then regain first. So it's on the cards, Ted. It's on the cards. But Middlesbrough could finish today at top. 17 goals is all we need to beat Watford by. But it's going to be a fantastic game. Now, we're going to preview Middlesbrough taking on Watford first because obviously Sunderland and Newcastle do not play until after the weekend is over. But it is going to be a massive game for Middlesbrough today against Watford. But just quickly, we were talking about this pre-show. Wrexham, Ryan Reynolds, I mean, Deadpool at his finest. I mean, they have spent some money, Teddy boy. Now, obviously, you didn't get to witness it because you left the league, you selfish man. But they've come up into League One, mate. They bought that Broadbent from Ipswich for like 15 mil. They bought Connor Cody. They went and bought Kiefer Moore. Obviously, you were familiar with him on the deadline, in the championship playoff game. They spent some big money, mate. And they haven't performed, as well as they probably should do for the money. But, I mean, they've knocked off Coventry yesterday and Disney's up and about, mate. But it's a massive result for Borough. And it's one now that we need to take a chance today against Watford to be able to close that gap.
I'm going to make a little prediction now. It's a bold prediction, and I think Steve mentioned it just before the
17-0.
Not that, no. But mark my words, Wrexham will get into the playoffs, and I just have a feeling that Kiefer Moore will bury a little bit of a ghost at Wembley. I fancy Wrexham to go on a little bit of a run. They've bought well. I know they've spent some money. That goes without saying, but. Nathan Broadbent, he was obviously on loan at Sunderland when he was an Everton player, and he was great for us. He was really, really good. Little question mark about is he built to last because he's a little bit injury prone, but when he's fit, he's a marvelous player to watch. Really, really is. And I think he's shown for Ipswich, for Sunderland, and now Wrexham as well that he's built for a championship player. Connor Cody, excellent signing for them, to be honest. I think it's a really, really solid signing. He's a no frills kind of player, but yeah, listen, he'll do a job for them 100%. Kiefer Moore is somebody who I really, really like, and not just because
you wanted him. I remember. Do you remember this? We talked about this on previous shows. I remember when he was coming up for grabs, and we were saying that you both suggested Sunderland and Middlesbrough should go for him at that stage.
Yeah, and there was a certain journalist that said that I was talking rubbish, and I think he went on some amazing run. I say journalist. I mean, anybody can be now, right? I can win a prize to write for the Echo now. All right, Jimmy. I know you're not watching. Not watching. Well, listen, no, great result for Middlesbrough. It's a great result for the championship because now it proves that Coventry are beatable. They were looking as if they were absolutely incredible and just like unplayable at times. And
their goal difference, mate, is
I hate
insane.
saying that because I can't stand them. I really can't stand Coventry. But listen, a perfect hat-trick from Kiefer Moore as well, which has done Borough a massive favour. I think Middlesbrough now go into this weekend with a bit of renewed confidence, a bit of a kind of it's back in our hands, because there's nothing worse than a team leading a charge away at the top of the championship, like what happened when we went up last season. It was just unobtainable to get to that sort of level.
Yeah,
but as it happens, we're above Leeds anyway. But that's another story. So listen, it's back in Borough's hands. It's back in the rest of the championship's hands now, and I think we'll see Coventry lose a few more points over the coming weeks and months. That game last night will be analysed to the nth degree. And listen, if a 33-year-old striker can score a perfect hat-trick against them, there's plenty of other quality players in amongst the Borough squad, let alone the championship, who can take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the halfway point in this podcast. So that means it is time for everyone's favourite cat. It's time for Troll of the Week.
And I know Jules is in the tune this weekend, and it is Dave, her hubby's birthday. So happy birthday, Dave. I hope you have a good one. Plenty of tweets sent over to us this week. We've been sent a new design for a Newcastle United Hoover. Henry Pet. Very good. Do like that. And I did promise you a few Liverpool-related...
get in. I love these.
So Alexander Isak, where is he? There he is, sitting watching the match. Oh, no. Finding Isak, a new film coming to cinemas. Isak injury update. Tripped over the blade of grass that wasn't greener.
Whoa!
Take that one. And we exit the Carabao Cup, said Liverpool on their social media. San Marino replied, hello, please play against us. And this guy, well, I think he might have a few more inches to grow on his hair. He's not cutting his hair until Liverpool win a game. What does Arnie Slot do in his spare time? He goes on Countdown. I'll have a W, please, Rachel, he asks. And if you can't support us when we lose, don't support us when we lose again and again and again and again and again and again. When you only get 500 million to spend in the summer. And Arnie Slot, we will surprise Real Madrid next week. Journalist asks how. Slot, we won't show up. And we spent the last week in training practicing how to defend set pieces. And then these guys came tonight and didn't even score the goals that way. It's not fair that teams keep changing how they play against us. That's going to run that one. It'll be another one them next week. And Frank Chipper was back in action this week. Liverpool have shortlisted potential Arnie Slot replacements with former England manager Gareth Southgate as the ownership's top choice. However, I'm told Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not interested in the role, despite the club's huge admiration for the Norwegian. Honestly, he got so many bites and retweets on that one. And Liverpool's new stadium, I love that. Fantastic. Let's move on to Man United. The last time Man United won the Champions League, Messi had no Ballon d'Ors. Yamal was 1 year old. RB Leipzig didn't exist. And Instagram and TikTok didn't exist.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Dear Jeremy Kyle, I'm 16 years old and pregnant with my boyfriend who's 20 years older than me. He's married with 3 kids. He's a drug dealer and carries a gun and is just out of prison. How do I tell my parents he's a Man United fan? And this really does sum things up at the minute. Singing a Man United in a European spot. How did you get up there? I fell. A lovely Manchester United tattoo gone wrong.
Oh, no, he hasn't. Oh, mate.
Fantastic, that. And a flag outside of Man City's house. At least he's honest. Oil of money. We should be in League 2. Very good. This was a nice touch. Message from Sky Bets. Truro fans, congratulations on making the longest away trip in English football history. Your effort and unwavering support hasn't gone unnoticed. That's why we've put £920 behind the bar in the ground today. £1 for every mile travelled. Enjoy the game. Sky Bet for the fans. That was excellent. Lovely gesture.
Love that.
And another lovely gesture came from a club that
I love this.
I'm not going to attempt to read it, but they did leave a lovely message on the seat of a supporter who'd recently lost their father, and that's a lovely, lovely touch. That I think it was Hull City who did it, as you can see.
Yeah, it is.
But that was on the chair of the seat, and a lovely message left. A lovely message in the stand for Brendan Rodgers just before he left. It sound if you leave early this time, Rog. Near dramas. He did. And Ange Postecoglou was a little bit disappointed. He was looking for a new job up in Scotland.
Big Ange!
Big Ange, yeah.
Through the gates.
It doesn't look like he got that job, does it? And here's what Sean McDonald, everyone who was in bed early, waking up to find out that Martin O'Neill was the Celtic manager. It is the Northeast Footy podcast, and sometimes we do get some that have a dig at the other teams. I'm looking for a book called Sunderland's European Games. Yes, sir. Have you tried in the fiction section, Mr. Harry Potter? And seeing as though we're talking Sunderland, I've got a little quiz for Ted. Ted likes to catch it out, doesn't he? Name the Sunderland manager, Ted.
That's Roy Keane in the middle.
Correct. Well done, mate. Good knowledge. Hey, he's never changed.
Yeah. He hasn't changed.
Oh my God!
I saw that this week and I thought, I've got to get that for Ted this week. That's a belter, isn't it? Roy Keane is a kid. Fantastic. I love this as well. Just found a wallet on the way to the ground. Main stand seat. I'll hand it to the main ticket office. Had an Everton season ticket in. Andy Jones replied, "Keep it." And Arsenal's quest for a trophy. They're hoping to end it this season. This was hilarious. She's here and she's perfect. And this must have been a Spurs fan. He went, the fans have started buying their own cups now. We do like to showcase some wonderful food at football grounds on this show as well. Here's your top three this week. Here we go. Yep. An Aberdeen fan paid €7 for this chicken panini in the away end at Athens on Thursday night. And this is why they call football the beautiful game. Wow. Wouldn't wipe me backside with that. I got sent this one. This is number 2's tweet this week. I got sent this one. Do you remember this one, lads? This was brilliant. From Victor and GB. Can you tweet something like, unbelievable support yesterday and great effort by the lads. Hard result to take, but we go again. Oh, that's brilliant. He sent it to his agent. The winner by a country mile this week is this one. Thoughts and prayers with a bloke who was set on fire at West Brom at Ipswich today.
Looks like the start of Tales of the Unexpected, doesn't it?
Oh my God.
If you've got a tweet that you want to send us, it has to be football related for this show. NUFC Matters 1892@gmail.com. You can email me them or get in touch with Ted and Rai at their respective social media outlets, and we will feature the cat next week for Jules.
Tell you what, Arnie Slot, keep it up, mate. You're making Troll of the Week last longer. Teddy?
Speaking of cats, can I just do a little plug? Would you mind awfully?
We were speaking about this, mate. The floor is yours, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Please.
I think we actually spoke with Vic back in our radio days. I'm sure we had a guest on the.
She came on, didn't she? I'm sure she came on.
She did. So yeah, Victoria Downs. I nearly called her by her maiden name there. Good friend of mine. She's actually a children's author and a Sunderland fan, as is her daughter as well. And she's written a book entitled The Black Cats, which is the history and the story all about how Sunderland managed to get their iconic nickname. Now, I found out some great facts about this. So Rob Mason, who's actually the club historian, very, very interesting guy, lovely, lovely man as well. He's actually Vic's old English teacher. And she kind of got involved and decided to get him involved in writing this book. And it's basically out to buy now. What she's doing is kind of it's a great initiative to try and like promote literacy among the younger fans and that kind of thing. Get the parents involved, and obviously if you can tie in the love of Sunderland Football Club, well then it's an absolutely brilliant thing as well. So so it's available. It's on the Love Supreme website. It will also be in the shop soon as well. It's also going to be available on Waterstone's website. Waterstone's, hey, posh stuff. This Vic, you've done all right, here. Tell you what, both Sunderland and South Tyneside libraries are going to be stocking it too. One of the first people to get a copy of it has been Jill Scott. So she's going to do a little review, apparently, of what she thinks of it. If you have got young Sunderland fans in the house, they'll love it as well. Dan Ballard, Wilson Isidore, Luke O'Nine, all dads in their own right and have young kids. They're actually all in the book as well. It's just a lovely, lovely idea. Now, Steve, before we lose the Newcastle contingent, her husband is actually a Newcastle fan, as is her son as well. So they're pestering her to do a Magpie book and keep the animal thing going as well. But she's kind of set on doing another Sunderland book as well. But listen, great to see talented people in the Northeast going ahead, using their talents, writing books. So yeah, the Black Cats, it's out, available to pre-order now. I think it's going to be stocked from next week. So it's a Love Supreme website. Sunderland fans will know exactly where that is. Or Waterstones, which is something what Ryan doesn't know about at all. But it's a very posh bookshop where you can buy posh coffee and stuff like that, mate. So yes, go get it. I'm getting a signed copy. Woo! And it'll probably help me learn to read.
No, amazing cause, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to find out more, you can get in touch with @Ted the Mackham if you are watching this back and you can't find any links again. And yeah, all the best. Honestly, it's a fantastic thing. We did have her on the show previously. She's a lovely human being, and I think it's fantastic what she's doing, especially in the area of Sunderland, who need all the help they can get with reading. Right, Teddy boy? I mean, it's just.
I nearly swore there.
Let's move on to the best team in the world, Middlesbrough.
Ted really came out there.
I'm in trouble. I'm going to get the biggest WhatsApp after this. We've got Middlesbrough taking on Watford today. It's going to be a fantastic game for Middlesbrough to close the gap on what has been Coventry leading the way, but they did lose last night to Wrexham. So Middlesbrough have a great chance away at Vicarage Road today against Watford. Middlesbrough will be going in with just the 2 injuries. We do believe Alex Bangura has become unwell during the week. He's come down with the flu. Sanjay Hansen is recovering as well. And obviously from an injury that he suffered while he's away internationally. Darragh Lenihan is still a bit further away. And then another one that popped up that was a surprise to me, Middlesbrough fans, was Kante, who has had an hernia operation midweek as well, the young 18-year-old who has signed for Borough. But I tell you what, it's going to be an amazing scene. One thing we need to talk about, lads, and I want to discuss this with both of you, is one thing that, especially on social media, that is happening with Middlesbrough this season, more than I've ever seen. Now, I haven't been around on the social media, obviously Borough fans since 2003, but the social media side of it only started probably 2 years ago. And one thing I've seen more than ever this year is leaked team sheets. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but Middlesbrough's team is getting leaked the day before. I mean, we've played 12 games, and I want to say a good 9 out of the 12, the team's been leaked, and it's been spot on. It's been absolutely spot on. And we're not too sure where it's come on. I've actually spoken to club officials who say they're aware of it, and you know they're disgusted by it because. And I'll quote, and I won't say who it's from, Middlesbrough fans, but I mean this is the quote that I got from a club official, just in regards to that, is that opposition managers are obviously not going to be reading it. They're not going to be on Twitter looking at these team sheets, but opposition analysts are. You'd be naive to think that opposition analysts wouldn't be following some of our big followers and finding out what they could about the team upcoming. A leak is bad enough, but not sure why fans of Middlesbrough then keep putting it on X, and that sabotages us. But what can you do? That was the feedback I got. Now, Teddy boy, have you ever experienced it in Mackham days where you've seen team leaks coming out clearly from? I mean, it's got to be inside the club. That's what I'm thinking. That's what the scary thing is that it's coming from inside the club, and the team sheets are getting leaked. Like 9 out of 12 games, mate.
We didn't have a problem as much with team sheets being leaked. Not in my recent memory. I mean, we have had a few things leaked. The shirts, the shirt designs were something that not this season, mate. We're tighter than a fish's arse at the minute.
I've never examined one, like so.
No. I tend to leave that bit if it's not in the batter. But yeah, no. Listen, we've had things like like I said, the shirt designs, couple of rumors of signings and things like that. But to be honest, that person is no longer at the club. We all know who it was.
Yeah,
But yeah. Yeah, well, funnily enough, yes, it is. Yes, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not going to say his name, but he knows. Don't you? Yeah, it is a weird one. I can't understand why the fans are then going and like sort of, kind of retweeting it and getting it even more out there.
Yeah,
this is like tantamount to like, the days of Leeds and Derby where the whole Spygate thing was going on with the training sessions. Yeah, it's really bad. To be fair, Borough fan, bar decor as well. I love that. Yeah, that was a leak. To be honest, we've never really had an issue with it, mate. But yeah, it's just baffling. Obviously, the mole will be exterminated. I'm sure in Middlesbrough. But the rest of the fan base, come on, guys, like. Let's share it among your WhatsApps or something like that, but don't put it out there in social media land for somebody else to go and nick. And then, like you say, these analysts are everywhere, absolutely everywhere, and it could stuff up your chances of promotion in the long term. I know it's a long shot, but
but it does hurt. I mean, Stevie, coming on to you, I mean, Tufts will put it in the chat as well, and you'll be more adverse to this than anyone here. I mean, fans will leak any information about their club for clout. I mean, I think that's one of the most truest statements. If you think you've got some sort of juicy information that's going to get a lot of clicks, then I think 9 times out of 10 these people are going to post it. But leaking team sheets the day before can't be good for anyone, right? And especially when it's Middlesbrough fans that are retweeting it or promoting it on social media.
Yeah, I mean, we used to have a mole at our club. I mean, there was frustration, wasn't it? Steve Bruce, Davy T's mentioning it. He was going mental about somebody leaking the team. I mean, it wouldn't have really mattered with the way Steve Bruce used to set up whether the team was leaked or not. But it is frustrating. I agree with Tufnell. It is true that certain fans would do that for clout, just to get a bit of one-upmanship. But surely clubs now are that clued up. It's not difficult to put a team out. If you've got your suspicions as to who's leaking the team, then you stick it out there. You do whatever you've got to do. That finds its way onto the internet, and then you change the team at the last minute. I mean, that's what you do. It's an easy way to find out who's leaking it. You process of elimination, I guess. But I mean, look, there are so many people who work at football clubs now, who maybe cross over between the first team and the academy, for example. It could be, there could be any reason. It could be a relationship that a journalist has managed to get with somebody in the media team. It's one of those situations, and loose lips can sink ships, can't they? Really, I guess. So that's where we're at. It might not be somebody who's doing it with any malice. It may just be somebody who's saying, "Well, look, don't say anything, but look, such and such is playing. Exactly. Yeah, such and such is playing." And
it could be a player or someone close to the club telling a trusted source what they think is a trusted source. You know what I mean? So it could be no malice, but I think it is.
Or like the kit man or something, or.
Yeah, it could be something like that. But honestly, it is frustrating. But look, Middlesbrough go to Watford today, hoping to take 3 points to be able to close that gap on Coventry. It's a big opportunity. Watford have already sacked their manager, shocked me, Ted, this season already, and replaced him. They've got a brand new manager. They have got an Australian superstar, though. I'm not sure if you lads have heard of it. Aaron Kunda is an absolute baller on the right wing. He scores absolute amazing free kicks, and if you guys have got a spare second when you're shopping at Target and you're left in the boyfriend chair, bring up Aaron Kunda's highlights, mate. He is an absolute wonder kid, and he's an Australian. I'm looking forward to seeing him up close today. But Middlesbrough will be travelling to Watford, Teddy boy, hoping to take 3 points, mate, from them to be able to close this gap to Coventry. It's something that we need to do. We talk a lot about the success of good teams is not finding a way not to lose when they're playing poorly, but I think good teams also take advantages of moments like this, where Coventry had a bad loss last night and we can have a massive win today to then put pressure back into Coventry.
There's two certainties in life, right? The once a year, Watford will change manager and Katie Price will change our marital status. It's just absolutely mind-blowing the amount of managers they go through. It's a club that needs stability and they're just not getting it. I thought they were really, really stupid for getting rid of Tom Cleverley, because actually it looked like they were starting to just find some sort of balance and starting to find a bit of a building block. Let's not forget, they have been a Premier League team a couple of times, Watford.
Yeah.
And they just seem to have basket case owners who just, go through far too many managers. And listen, as a Sunderland fan, I've seen the damage that can do as well. I'm not saying you should stick with a bad manager, but you should also be giving them time to develop and put their own stamp on things as well,
Yeah. Give us a prediction while you're there as well.
Today, mate, I can only see a Borough win. I think that it'll be a bit of a buoyancy after last night's result as well. All right, with 17 goals, you can go top. Which it's a tall order, but I'm sure your prediction will be about 18-0. But nah, mate, I can. The defense is a little bit shaky. That's the only thing right now. I think they just need to find their form again, just a little bit more concentration. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for the Borough today, mate. I can't see having much trouble. They just need to tighten up at the back, mate, and stop giving away careless chances.
We are going to talk about Newcastle, obviously playing tomorrow. Sunderland as well. We'll get the lads' predictions on that one. But before we do, Steve, Watford, a tough trip for Middlesbrough, but a chance again to close that gap between them and Coventry, and a good chance that needs to be grasped.
Yeah, it's been gift wrapped for you this weekend, hasn't it? Really, you've got Watford who are struggling in the relegation end of the division, down in 17th place at the moment, and you've got to fancy Borough to do the business today. If you don't and you do slip up, then you've got to start thinking about finishing second and just keeping that gap between you and those chasing teams. But you've got to win today. You've got to win. This trip to Watford is just as important as Newcastle's trip to West Ham. If Newcastle are going to have any desires of being in the Champions League, they have to win games like this. And Borough, if they've got any desire of being in the Premiership next season, have got to beat Watford away. So it's a must win, this one for Borough. But I think it's a win. I think it's a win. I think it'll be a 2-1 win. I'm not going to go as confident as 3-1, but I think a 2-1 win on the road for Borough will see them level on points with Coventry, all square and all to play for.
Well, I think the rumours are that Riley McGree is going to be back fully fit today for the Borough. So I am very confident travelling to Vicarage Road. I think it's going to be 18-0 to the Borough, and we're going to reclaim first. I'm not even kidding. Put your money on it. Teddy boy, we've got to come to you quickly. Sunderland are going obviously Sunderland at home to Everton for your next game, mate. A game that you said obviously has got some bite with David Moyes. I mean, Everton are not going to be any easy winners for Sunderland, but obviously proving against Chelsea away that being better, especially at the Stadium of Light, mate, you're going to be a strong favourite once again against Everton at home, which is incredible.
I don't see us as strong favourites for it. By the way, my sister's listening, so that's for her. That's
for me.
Sorry,
you have a brother like him.
All right. Mate, you've got no idea. I'm amazed she's actually awake, to be honest. Like us, she's just into her 60s now, but she was out partying for Halloween last night. I saw the photos. I'm amazed she's conscious, mate. Let's put it that way. But love you, Jill. Listen, another tough one, but defensively is where we are really, really in our prime at the minute. Dan Ballard, 7 clearances he made against Chelsea. Alderete is still going to be out because of the concussion protocols, but I think that proved the Chelsea game that we can actually, we can shuffle that team around a little bit. What Regis Labrise has done beautifully against some of the better sides as well is out of possession, we'll play with a back 5. In possession, we'll play with a back 4. And it's really, really difficult now for teams to adjust to that. It's quite a tricky thing to do. So, listen, we're doing everything right. But Everton this season have been much better, probably better on the road than they have been at home, in all fairness. So stick me neck out. I don't like predicting at the minute because every time I predict, I get it wrong. But I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I don't think I'd be upset with a draw against an Everton side.
How do you think Pickford's going to be feeling as well? By the way,
well, he's going to chuck one in the net for us.
Of course, he will.
He'll be buzzing, and do you know what? He'll get a really, really good reception,
to the Stadium of Light for him,
because he's a very, very popular lad. He still loves Sunderland to this day.
He does.
He goes to a lot of the games.
Was that the playoff game, wasn't he? So
he's a top lad. I know. Yeah, he baits the Geordies as much as possible. He has some good banter with them. But Nah, he's a great lad, and he'll be made to feel very, very welcome back at the stadium, I like. But hopefully his dinosaur arms are in action and he lets a couple in for us.
He's only got little arms. He's only got little arms.
Before we talk blowing beautiful bubbles in the air, Newcastle going to West Ham. We got to get a result for you, Stevie. From obviously Sunderland are up and flying, mate. I mean, 12 months ago, I couldn't even believe I'd be talking about Premier League fixtures with Sunderland being favourites at home against Everton.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to go with Ted on this one. I do, and I'll go with Tom's prediction. I'll go for a 2-2 draw. I think there'll be goals. Sunderland are scoring goals. Everton are capable of scoring goals. I do think Pickford will chuck one in the net at some point. There might be a beach ball involved. I know, like whenever they play Scouse teams, there's always some controversy. But yeah, listen, it's an exciting game for Sunderland. It's at this moment in time with the form that they're in. This is an opportunity really for them to, to maximize their great start of the season. You know, there's no reason why they couldn't win this game, but they have got tough games ahead. God, you reeled off the fixtures earlier. With the exception of Liverpool, which looks like an easy game. The rest of the games are very difficult. Yeah, but that's even like a free hit. That's a free hit for you guys at the minute. It's a free hit, but it's crazy, lads. When you look at the whole situation, the way things are at the moment, anybody can beat anybody in the Premier League. I said that to Ted before they got promoted. Yeah. But yeah, I do fancy a draw in this game. I think a high scoring draw, 2-2. I think it'll be an interesting game, a good game to finish this round of fixtures off.
It's going to be very interesting. I'm actually going to go for a 2-1 win to Sunderland. I just think at the Stadium of Light, it's going to be incredible. And I think Jordan Pickford's going to let 2 goals in and then probably just say, don't worry, boys, we'll get them next time. Do you know what I mean? And then wink to the Sunderland fans as he gets carried off and get free beer all afternoon. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Sunderland. Let's move on to West Ham at home to Newcastle United. Newcastle coming off a big week again, moving forward in the Carabao Cup. A tough trip to West Ham. In terms of just the stadium alone and the atmosphere, I mean, West Ham, they put on a good show, but it's a West Ham team, Steve, that are struggling so bad, mate. And as you said just earlier, I really do think Newcastle can take hold of this. I honestly am going for a 3-0 win to Newcastle. I think it could scarily be a lot more. West Ham are absolutely atrocious, and I don't think the change of manager has done anything. I think their signings have been woeful, and I really do think the German Peter Crouch can really get a hold on what is a small-ish defence as well. And this aerial threat that Newcastle have now with Dan Burn and Walter Mata is actually scary. And I think, funny enough, if I was to pick any team in the Premier League that are susceptible to height, it's West Ham.
I mean, listen, it's the only reason this is a long trip to West Ham and a dangerous trip to West Ham is because of the engineering works. We haven't really got any fears going to West Ham. Newcastle really need to win this game. They've got to get 3 points in the bag. They're going to score goals. This could really go to the same levels as it did against Sheffield United when we went down there and won 8-0. It's one of those games where Newcastle could really go absolutely goal crazy. An early goal needs to be needs to be the order of the day, though. They need that goal in the first 5 minutes and the fans will turn. But I genuinely think it'll be a 3-0. That's what I've took on my podcast this week. Yeah. Newcastle will win 3-0, set themselves nicely up for the Champions League. I wouldn't be against a 3-1 win if Callum Wilson got on and got a goal. It would be nice to see him. He's never scored against Newcastle for Bournemouth. Doesn't have a very good run against Newcastle, full stop. And he's not getting much of a run in the team down there at the minute. But there'll be a bit of rotation. I expect the big guns to be back as far as the wingers are concerned. I think we'll see Anthony Gordon back in. I think we'll see Murphy back in. Baltimore will, of course, be ploughing a lone furrow up front. I think there'll be a few changes in the midfield. Bruno will be back, of course. I think it will be Bruno, Tonali and Joe Linton together. No injuries by the sounds of it. And the back four, I think we'll see Shaw drop out. I think Malik Chow will be alongside Botman. And I think Kieran Trippier will be on the right-hand side and Dan Burn will be on the left-hand side. I think Lewis Hall will be on the bench as well. But yeah, Newcastle 3, West Ham 0 at the weekend for me.
Same prediction from me, Teddy boy.
Yeah, but listen, I think physically and defensively, Newcastle are not got an awful lot to worry about against West Ham. All right, we had them the first game of the season. They might have been a bit rusty at the start of the season and all that. But for me, they've only got one threat, and that's Jared Bowen. Who's a quality player. And to be honest, I don't think he'll be a West Ham player by the end of this season. I think he'll be elsewhere. I can't see West Ham getting anything at all out of this. I think defensively, I've been so impressed with Chow. Honestly, what a lovely footballer as well. For a defender, he plays some really nice stuff. And that sticks in my throat having to say that about the Jordan.
Yeah, he'll be at the Borough next season easily.
I don't think his career's going up, mate. Maybe at Sunderland. Anyway, no problem at all. 2-0 win for the Geordies.
All right, we've got to quickly, before we go and sign things off here for another Threeser crowd, we have got a midweek fixture. It is Champions League football for Newcastle. They'll be at home to Atletico in what's been a fantastic performance, bar probably the Barcelona game, Steve, where you just got undone by Marcus Rashford, who's actually on fire. If you guys want to have a look at some stats, Marcus Rashford is on fire at Barcelona. Newcastle at home to Atletico. Again, I think it's going to be a game that you can easily win. I'm not sure if Eddie's going to have one eye on that game when it comes to West Ham, given their position, but I honestly think it's going to be two strong wins. And I really like the aerial threat again against Atletico and seeing what they're going to do. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory. I think it's going to be tighter just because it's a midweek game and we're going to see, maybe some tired legs. Huh?
Under the lights.
Under the lights. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a tougher game, Steve, but I still think Newcastle can get the gravy.
Yeah, I think 2-0 win for Newcastle midweek. Bilbao haven't had a great start. Lost 2 Champions League games already. Newcastle, as I say, if they win this one, we'll get, we'll be up to 9 points and we'll be having an eye on qualifying for the next stage. And it's 10 million in the bank for Newcastle to do that. Oh. So, you know what? This really is a big week for Newcastle because we finish off before the international break with a trip to Brentford, which would be nice if we could go in that game with 5 wins on the trot. But yeah, I think Newcastle will base it on a good, solid defence against Bilbao. And I'm going to go for another win, a 2-0 win, another clean sheet. And 9 points in the bag in the Champions League.
It's going to be interesting for me, Teddy boy. Obviously, Newcastle, I think when we first saw them, when we came together as a trio, they had just entered the Champions League, and we saw that injury plague season that, if you remember correctly. I mean, they really struggled. And Dan Byrne went on a podcast and was really open and honest about it, about how hard it was to back up week in and week out. Well, they seem to be dealing with it this season so much better. I mean, they're going so far in the Carabao Cup. They've got their foot in the Champions League. They're also, the Premier League, I would say maybe some fixtures have been lacking there, but they seem to be finding their grasp in that as well. I mean, they're really taking the bull by the horns this year, and they seem to be dealing with it well. And I honestly think we can see a good win against West Ham like we predicted. But again, going to Atletico, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, I mean, they put the whole Ferrari about Isaac behind them very, very quickly. Got a striker in who scores goals, and just for such a big guy is a very talented player. By all right, I'll mock him and I'll call him Peter Crouch and all that, but it's out of a little bit of admiration for him as well. The game against Bilbao, Bilbao's a weird one. That they were actually founded by a guy from Sunderland. But there you go. There's a little known fact. They actually wear red and white because of
I had heard that the last time we played them. Yeah.
So we never have, because the only time we go into Europe is for a booze cruise.
With Pickford.
With Pickford. No, listen. It might be a little tougher than what we think. I'd see Newcastle coming away from it. Unfortunately, I can't see anything other than 2 Newcastle wins on the bounce, and I'll go for 2-1. It really makes me feel sick, and it's not just
because Ted, you might be a Geordie in disguise. Let's get some. We need to get investigated.
Say that. Well, me and you're going to fall out.
On that beach towel you've got, that's definitely him wearing a Newcastle top.
I mean, they look the same. It is incredible.
Do you know what? I'm not even kidding. I used that image on AI, and I've actually made a slimmer version of Steve. So I'll send it out.
Thank the Lord.
Good. Look at that, Steve. We've had to look
after your cheek now. I might just inflate you a bit more.
Steve the Whole Tower. There's merch coming soon. Steve the Whole Tower. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been a fantastic show once again. That is all we got time for today on Three's a Crowd, the Northeast Football Podcast, the only podcast that brings together three rival teams but has a bit of banter and a laugh about it, and it's all love at the end of the day. Good luck to Newcastle, Sunderland and Middlesbrough fans. If you are making travels or journeys this weekend going to football, please be safe. It is a crazy world out there, as always. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you consider liking and subscribing, checking out at Inrictus, at Ted the Macklemore, at NUFC Matters for all your related club news. We'll be back next week to talk about the results from this weekend and also that midweek journey, and we'll also be predicting another big week for Northeast football teams. It is bye from now. Thank you for tuning in to Three's a Crowd.
Three's a Crowd podcast will return. That's not a threat, it's a promise.